Welcome back to Tig's Bits, and oh man, it's been a wild few weeks for us here at the show, so we thought, why not talk a little bit about it, hear a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes, and a little bit about what's coming in the future. Look, we want to thank all of you guys for your support. We've had a ton of new followers, subscribers on all of our social media channels, the podcast platforms everywhere. We absolutely love it. Keep on sharing this stuff with your friends. You know, here at Tig's Bits, we talk a little bit about everything. Boys, welcome back. It's good to see the handler is back with us this week. We got Blasey. I mean, this is gonna be a good time, man. What's been going on, gentlemen?
Oh wow, dude, I'm just writing down some notes here. This is gonna be fun. I'm so pumped. A bunch, so I'm gonna be short and let it get to Blasey. I want to put for the record though, glad to be back chit chat with you guys. And after we talked before on the pre-show. And you gave us the countdown before we were recording. It actually started at exactly 4:20 p.m. in the afternoon, just for historical markers.
That's
just
fantastic.
For historical markers. There are no significant cultural numbers associated there, but just putting that out there that we started this show on 4:20, and. And yeah, I'm good. I've been on the road, normal stuff. Been a hot summer. It's been fun. I'll talk about a little of that later in the show. But since we have a new budding radio and internet star as a cast member of this podcast, I figure we just throw the mic over to the conservative radio, television, YouTube sensation known as the Wonder Kid Chad Blasey over here. What's going on, Blasey Blase?
Absolutely. Iron Glenn Beck. Chad Blasey, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice intro there, JR. Nice intro. No, man, it's been crazy. It's been fun. I mean, as probably some of y'all have been watching the show, saw that we were on Bubba the Love Sponge, and he found us and brought us on his show, and you guys have all seen that. We've got that out there, but it's funny, what we didn't talk about is how that show almost never happened, which is what's even crazier. Is this was a day I was actually working. I was on the road. We're trying to come up with a time that afternoon to record. I realized I left my mic cord, so I didn't have my mic. So I'm running around trying to find a Walmart that's got this dang USB. It's not even a C. It's something that they don't even hardly make anymore. It's very rare. And I finally found a universal one that you spin around that'll plug in. Get to the hotel. We're still trying to line up JR.
Adapter kit.
Then I realized I don't have my power cord in my computer. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. You know, and I'm about ready to throw in the towel. And then JR bows out because he's busy. He's on the road, so he couldn't join us. And finally, Brantley's like, no, we're doing a show. We're just scrap what we're going to do, which was condiments. We're going to talk about podcasts. So I just whipped out my phone there in the room, and then we laid it out, and the rest is history on that of what happened and what took place. But I'm definitely glad that you pushed us through there, Tiggs, pulled us out the other side, man.
Well, it had been too long of a day that day of you and I going back and forth. I'm looking up stuff on Amazon trying to figure out what that would be to make it work. And, I know how crazy it's like, look, we've spent all of this time and effort to do this. Dadgummit, we're going to do a show today, one way or the other. We're recording something. And so we took a little 30-minute break in between, like, all right, we got it together. We can do this. Let's take a minute, get our minds right, come back and do it. And then, the rest is history, so they say. So, hopefully this will turn out the same way, a show about a show.
Hey,
and I know we talked about it a little bit on that, but the way it came up, the part of conversation that got picked up by the Bubba's Army that got it back to him for him to reach out to you guys to want to get on the show that day was y'all were talking about your favorite podcasters or radio personalities.
Yeah.
And
right.
Brantley went with a very weak Conan O'Brien, as I remember. And then didn't get a lot of love from our
Hey, it's true.
The truth will only set you free.
That's right.
But it did not get near the love.
Not an impressive list, though.
Hey, everybody loved Conan.
I will admit
Conan,
it.
when he switched channels, he lost a lot of people when he switched channels. I will say that. He was my favorite for about a 6-year period.
Great.
I was Conan for about a 6-8 year period. He was the best. He was top. He was apex predator. But Blasey went with his South Florida love of Bubba the Love Sponge. From notorious wrestling backstory, dirt sheet type stuff, and things like that, and just being a big figure from living down in South Florida and then now in Central Florida where his show is syndicated all around. So you mentioned that, and then that got picked up. Somebody on his team, or somebody sent it to somebody on his team or his filters, and they get it to him. And of course, you're giving him some love, but you're just spitting facts. Really, you're not grabbing for, hey, Bubba, please look at me. I'm your biggest fan. Call
Not
me.
at
Blah
all.
blah blah. You were just shooting it straight, and it resonated.
I mean,
Basically,
the whole idea was just to lay out a short summary about this guy, because I assumed 99% of the people that had listened to us had never heard of this guy. You know what I mean? So it's just it was just facts. I mean, everything listed there was just facts about him, So
right.
It really was, and I can attest. You guys can go back and listen to season 1 episode called Florida Man, where Chad talked about Bubba in that episode. So I mean, he's been discussed before. His love has been professed for well over a year. This was just, hey, that's his favorite freaking podcast. I'm glad it's now become one of mine too. I mean, I'm Bubba Army. I took my heat on that show. I'm fine with it. Doesn't bother me a lick. Everything Bubba said was 1,000,000% correct. He read me so well. I love that. That's why he is where he's at. That dude knows.
Yep.
He just knows. But yeah, but man, what a blast, that whole deal. And of course, there's the behind the scenes on that we put out and all of that to go along with the Bubba the Love Sponge documentary that we made based off of that show.
And if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
YouTube.
It is.
Tiggs has done a great job. There's some great content on YouTube. I don't know if you're listening to this on the Spotify app or Apple podcast, or maybe you're already watching this on YouTube, but dig around on some of those shorts and those clips and those different videos that Tiggs makes, man. They're great. That's some funny stuff, man.
Thank you, man. We've been having fun for a while on this show. And like you said, there's a ton of content already set up everywhere. Go check it out. Take some deep dives. I don't think our show's a bad one to go down a little rabbit hole in. So,
No.
just a selfless plug
and
for
this,
Tiggs
and
Bits.
as new listeners come on, as all of our current listeners and people out there in podcast land spread the word, and new content comes out that may be relevant to someone they know, and they pass us along to them, it's just going to grow. And some of this back content, we're going to mention that over each every couple of episodes, that the back content, if you're new to the show, go back and look at some of that back content. There's stuff that I've been a fan before I was even involved with the show, that I still go back and listen to remember what I'd heard on it and things like that. We talk about it. The guy with the metal detector, I love that episode. And then the Tommy, the local sports guy from Baton Rouge. I love that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So we want to encourage everybody to go back, if you're new listeners, which we hope we're getting new listeners every week, to go back and check that stuff out, because it's just good stuff. It's good stuff.
It is. And Blasey, going back to Bubba the Love Sponge. Now, we did that show and all, but here recently, you went to Tampa Bay and actually hung out with Bubba.
Yeah, so
right?
Going into July 4th, Amanda and I were going to be without kids going into the weekend for the whole week of 4th of July, just the way it all worked out. So I was like, man, let's take a road trip. And I knew Bubba had this Bubba Army Night he was doing with the Tampa Bay Tarpons, which is the minor league team there for the New York Yankees. And they had like the suite area, the Fifth Third Bank suite all set up. You had, open bar there, food and all that jazz. So I was like, you know what? The day before, I literally on Thursday, I bought the tickets, or Wednesday, I bought the tickets. We left Thursday, got down there. I told Bubba I was coming. He was pumped up about it. And, dude, that was an absolute blast. What was really cool, obviously I got to meet Bubba. He's phenomenal, man. Dude's a really, really cool cat, man. And, but was meeting all these Bubba Army legends that I'd heard call into the show so many times over the years. And, dude, they were so nice. It was so cool. They were very welcoming, and it wasn't like, who's this guy? It was like everybody was super cool. It's a nice little tight-knit family. Got to hang out with Anna and Lummy. I mean, dude, they're all just awesome people. It was an absolute blast. The highlight of it, though, is that in the ninth inning, the Tarpons are losing 3-0, and Bubba has been wearing out the whole bullpen, because we're right over the bullpen. And this one guy, he'd been calling Kenny Powers all night, he's a guy that gets up, starts warming up to come in and close it out in the ninth. I mean, he is absolutely killing this kid. I mean, it was hilarious, and I put that on Twitter.
Now, Chad, I was going to say, Chad, you put that out on your Twitter. What's your Twitter handle for everybody listening?
SRB Trojan.
Yes, sir. And you can also go to @TigsBits Podcast on our Twitter too. It's been shared on the show page as well. Please
absolutely.
continue.
So Bubba is just killing this cat, man, and he goes out there and he cannot find a strike. I mean, he walked 3 batters in that inning, and then gave up a couple of hits. And next thing you know, man, Tampa wins the game 4-3 on a walk-off hit. with 2 outs at that point. I mean, that kid was rattling.
It's epic.
Like, man, Bubba,
Wow.
you got him, man.
It worked. It worked.
It worked. It worked. Now,
he was in his head, Guns N' Roses, and what was we may have to cut this, but what did he say? What was it that he was saying?
Just asking me, hey, did you something that did Axl Rhodes make a stop in Texas out there to meet your mom? Is that really your dad?
God. Oh.
And, this poor kid's 19, 20, 23, 24 at the most. At the most. You typically, I think you're going to most of your minor league parks, you're not getting a whole lot of trash talk.
right.
And then if you see this video, they're just like a bunch of vultures hovering over this bullpen, just talking trash. Fantastic.
Welcome to the friggin'
That is
show.
sports.
That's it, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you can't handle this, then you definitely can't take it to that next level.
Either. When I say nobody, literally the stands outside of where we are, we've got probably 120 people standing over this dude screaming, and the stadium is basically empty. I mean, there might be 50 to 75 people in the whole place.
Shut up. Only?
Huh?
There was less than 100 people there, you think?
Yes, except for us.
Wow.
And then it was about 120 in that one corner out there in left field over the bullpen. It's like vultures.
Wow. Yeah, hell, I went to a Rays game. I guess it was must have been just pre-pandemic. Justin and I went to a Rays game, and bro, there was less than 1,000 people in that big old.
It's crazy down there with the Rays, especially it's Major League Baseball, and
that's what we were thinking.
Team.
And they're good.
Yeah, and they were good.
They
They
were
were
really
good
good.
during this too. Yeah, it was.
tough
There
place
was.
to
I
get
mean,
to,
there
though.
might have been 1,500 people, but in a big stadium that probably held 25,000 people.
You could hear conversations.
Why is that?
200 feet away.
Why is that?
Well,
Too much
because
stuff to do.
Is the stadium in a bad location?
they're
Or
trying to move it to Tampa for years, and they got this long-term lease. I think it expires like in 2025. I mean, this was when I moved down there. It was a big topic. That was in 2011. And it's just so far and so hard to get over to St. Pete. I mean, if you live around the Tampa area, it's like an hour drive to go to the stadium, and that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So it was, and it's
they got to move
having to get on. And it's always just mangled up. It's the only road really that gets real bad. The rest of them flow nice, but it's just in a bad location. So until they get that changed,
Well, kind of like Six Flags of New Orleans. Imagine if they'd have put Six Flags in New Orleans over by the airport instead of on, West Bank. Or East Bank. So
totally different deal.
You're right.
You're
right.
Yeah, that's
Bad.
true. Good point. Good point. Well, man, that was.
But
and I believe. I don't want to put them on the spot, but I believe you got a commitment as well for Bubba to come on the show at some point in time.
Bubba said he'll come on the show, 100%. Yeah, I was asking that question. That's the only ask I had of him that night. But
there you go. You said I
That's
was
all
going.
that we need. Hey, that's
I
good
was going to
enough.
give you a hard time about actually paying for the tickets, and you not hitting him up and saying, "Hey, put me on the list," is what you should have done. But if you were asking a favor of him, it was probably good to go ahead and buy the ticket and then ask the favor. So good job, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, what's crazy? It was $38 a ticket, and that includes entry, free drinks,
Snacks
and free
and
food.
drinks. Oh, wow.
Like you can, that's
Well, it's
cheaper
just
than
like
going to a
it's
bar
kind of
somewhere
like
and
that's
sitting.
just
a good
covering. That's probably just covering the thing. He throws in a little bit to cover it. It helps them out. It's a fan interaction thing for his people, rallying the troops kind of deal. So it works good for everybody.
Yeah.
It's smart. That's cool, man.
Wonderful cup there, Blasey. You can get that at tigsbits.com. Available now. But then we move from Bubba the Love Sponge and and all of that into we have DD freaking P, Diamond Dallas Page on the show, dude. I mean, how does well, we know how that happens. That happens thanks to JR the handler being very good friends with Dallas. And but look, we cannot thank him enough for coming on the show.
Yeah. Well,
What an honor. He certainly didn't have to do that. We're just a little scrawny podcast trying to make it, and it's nice to have the big dog kind of rooting for you.
Absolutely. Well, after we Chad or Blasey got. Because we got to call him Blasey. I'm going to have to get on to Bubba when he comes on the show. His name's Blasey, no more Chad. And it will.
It's going to be tough for Bubba. Bubba can call him whatever the hell he wants.
We'll work on it. I'll give Bubba a hard time. I know how to. I'm good with the talent. We'll work on Bubba. He'll be our buddy. But I thought after that, I thought, man, this is that was really cool. We got I'm reeling off that, and I thought this would be a good time. Because we had talked about some, we'd already hinted on wrestling and the Southern thing, and I thought because we had brought that up because we were talking about the Tampa area being where Bubba and Chad had first heard the show. So I thought that'd be a good time. Let me see if Dallas is busy. And it's not as much on me being friends with him. It's just that's just kind of person he is. Y'all got to see. Everybody got to listen to the show. Got to see. That's how he is. If it's something that was going to help a few people, if he thinks that that message got out and it helps a few people, he will do that all day, every day. That's just how great of a person he is. So when I hit him up and told him what we were doing, I said, we're going to hit on South Florida and then talk some DDPY for everybody for the new podcast I'm on. He's like, just tell me when, bro. And then we had a little mix up one evening because his dinner deal, and then the next then it was he texted me that day. He said I'm free in an hour, so I'm like, all right, let's go, guys. And he came on, spent way more time than I asked of him or than was needed, but we appreciate it. And I've told a lot of people since then, and again, you can watch all this on YouTube. I've done the ice bath thing one time. I love a hot tub, but I've done the ice bath thing one time. And for him to go out of a hot tub to an ice bath, back and forth, talking to us and never wincing,
never flinched, dude.
I mean, what an animal. And then he stands up there and holds his foot over his head. I mean, what an animal, huh?
He's unbelievable, man. I've not done the ice bath thing. I don't want to. I'm just going to be honest. I do not want to do that. It does not seem. I don't like a cold shower. I know that whole thing of taking cold showers, and I've listened to all that. I tried that, and this is crazy. Now, granted, the water does get warmer and all that. I'm good. I can wake up. But now there's sense, and of course he talks about that in that episode of the reasoning of why you would want to do that. But yeah. Number one, if you can get past that, just that can hang out in ice water to your neck.
And talk.
Burning brown fat, which I've never heard of until that episode. I mean, it's like, why aren't we all doing this?
I tried it I tried it once not too long ago. We were at Atmore, Alabama. We played the Wind Creek Casino, and they had our dressing room was the spa area. So they had the hot tub and the shower, and they had a nice cold little dip thing there. And I told Justin, I was like, you ever got one of those? He goes, no, I didn't think he had. I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I even can. So I tried, and I got like right up to about my thighs and realized, man, I just don't my body's locking up. I don't think I can do this. So he's competitive, so he's like, he's going to try. And he got in. He got all the way down to his neck. I mean, briefly got back up, and he's just like, oh, my God. He's like, why would anyone do that? He's like, that is. So then I was like, all right, I'm competitive. I was like, he can do it. I got to do it once. All right, I can do this once. Mind over matter. And I did, and I got in. I tried to relax for a second, but I couldn't even relax my body enough to sit comfortable, so I was in and out instantly, but it woke me up. But I maybe you could get used to it. But I thought about that when I did it the one time in Dallas. I told Justin, I said, Dallas got in and out, not just from normal air either. He was getting out of the hot tub where he was super warm.
That's the biggest crazy part of that. Yeah.
It was going from 105 degrees to 42 degrees.
Up to a swimming pool, which is 75, 78 degrees or whatever, or 80 or 82, whatever it is. Like that's very like cold. You know what I mean? But I can imagine going, what was it, 41, 42 or whatever that was he had it at?
It was 42 degrees, 41, 42.
He didn't make a sound. No. He didn't give me a second.
He didn't sigh nothing. He just kept talking. It was unbelievable. It really was. Now I tried the same thing, and there's a show. I've got a show coming out in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's an epic road trip to Omaha, Nebraska, with my son and I documented all of it the whole way. We just have to tell the story. I'm going to bring my son on
Yes.
the podcast. He's jacked about
Yes.
this. Yeah. So he's going to come on. He and I are going to tell this story. We're going to hear it from his point of view too, which will be fun. So it's gonna be incredible. But I tried this plunge deal in my own way in a little hotel in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which we can. And I texted you to see where we should eat and
Yeah.
stuff like that on the. We didn't have time for all of that as it
Right.
ended up. We didn't eat anywhere, but we got there too late. But hung out in the hot tub, and I said, you know what? I got hot. I'm going to go into that pool. They had an indoor pool too. Not the same thing, but I'm going to
Yeah,
go
right,
back and
right.
forth in
That's your
between that.
version.
I do
That's your
that
version.
anyhow. You know, it absolutely it ruined my Apple Watch. So that's the I won't mention that in the epic father son deal, but yeah, it fried my freaking Apple Watch. Word of warning to anybody out there: I do not suggest getting in a swimming pool or especially a hot tub with an Apple
And
Watch.
is it?
That, yeah, I know. I know you can swim with it. It's water
probably that-
resistant. It is not
it's that-
waterproof. It was the heat. I believe it was the hot tub that
Steam the inside.
that expanded the seal inside, and
Damn.
then
Good.
it flat
Good
out
to
ruined
know
it,
though,
man.
because my wife loves her
Yeah,
Apple Watch,
yeah.
and she would be heartbroken if hers broke in a hot tub at a hotel.
Oh, dude, I had a complete meltdown
bro,
because
sorry,
I'm on
man.
like day 900. I was on like day 904 of a streak, and I had 30 calories left to burn. So I said, I pray to God. I had my old Apple Watch. I'd had an original Apple Watch. So I had it here at the house. And I was just hoping that I could get the activity done. I did a DDPY workout, about a 10-minute stretch. And I was hoping that that would log in my phone. And whenever I did everything, that it would count it. It did. I did not lose the streak, thank God. But, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter to anybody but me, but it matters to
right.
me. So I know there are people out there that are the same way.
Oh, yeah.
They may not admit it, but they are the same
Oh, yeah.
way. So just a word of advice from Tig's Bits. Do not suggest getting in any kind of liquid with your watch. You have to remember it's still an
There's
electronic.
our PSA of the week.
You know, and what
There
it
it is,
says
yeah.
what it says on the Apple website itself is that it does not guarantee that it's water resistant, but those seals will break down over time, and eventually moisture can leak into the motherboard. And I believe
and
that's
I'm
what
sure,
that's
and
what
I'm
happened.
sure the chemical content in pool water is probably not as like your
chlorine's not
bathtub
good
or
for
shower
it,
would
yeah.
be. Yeah.
That's right. They suggest to never shower with one, and they also suggest if you do swim with one to rinse it off with rinse it underwater, fresh clean water. And then of course the watch has a thing too that will water mode or whatever
wow.
it's called that will expel water.
Probably
out
best
of it
just not to
do
wear
that
your
type of
electronics
stuff.
in the water. Probably
The best
sounds
thing
like.
to do if you like your
I think
Apple
that's the net
Watch
of this.
and you can live without getting the calories counted while you're in the pool, then just
Yeah, you
don't
can
wear
log.
it.
There's a way. I'm sure there's a way to log.
You
Yep,
can, yes,
post-data
there
log,
is.
yeah.
There's or buy you a little. There are swimming things that if you're a swimmer, you can get a Bluetooth band that is waterproof to calculate all that stuff.
I tried
to buy one to swim, which I didn't know. I didn't know
well,
this either.
well,
so,
a similar, and there's our PSA of the week. Don't wear your Apple Watch or any electronics in the water. And I think we should do a PSA of the week, like GI Joe, because we're all kids of the '80s. We should do a PSA every week. So there's this week.
That's right. That's our
And,
PSA.
and the more
That's
you
right.
know,
The
knowledge
more
is
you
power.
know.
But I'm not going to blame Fayetteville, so I just want you to make
No,
sure
they're
that everybody knows this.
Yep.
You know, a part of me may or may not have cussed Fayetteville at that moment because I'm like, of all the damn
Right.
towns that I decided to
Arkansas
stop in,
takes you down.
Fayetteville's
Arkansas had to take LSU down. They had to take you down.
They had to.
Personal.
It's
Personal foul.
This
Arkansas
was a miracle
Razorbacks
in-
on purple and gold.
yeah. This was a miracle in Fayetteville for the Hogs, not a miracle on Markham. But
Right,
whatever, it
right,
happened.
right.
Okay, congrats, you got me
Right.
again.
Hey,
you got me
you know,
again,
I
Hogs.
remember a few years ago when I still lived in Louisiana. I was swimming a lot, going to the the Bayouland YMCA in Houma, which I love going there and swimming. Had a big pool with the old school canopy, you know, mind you, the old school. But this is the age of earbuds, and I had different kinds. I don't think I had these kind yet, but had different kinds of good earpieces, you know, Bluetooth, all that stuff. And I thought there's got to be a way I can listen to my music while I'm swimming in the water. And I spent probably $150 or $200 on different little kinds of ones that would work, but it just never worked. And going back like the watch thing, I realized I'm just not going to be able to get everything I want all at one time. Yes, would it be cool if I could listen to some jazz while I'm swimming? Yes,
sure.
But I mean, I'm electronics up next to my brain inside the water. I might as well just swim with my toaster. You know what I mean? I'm like, this can't be. This sounds good to me, like I can have all these conveniences in life, but I just don't think this is going to work. You know, so. Anyway,
yeah,
about as good of an idea as taking a little tiny submersible down to the Titanic, huh? You know what I mean? Made out of
right. Yeah, I mean that exactly. Like
bad idea.
Hey,
the first thing with that deal that they should have known, it should have been a big red flag, was that they were using a freaking Logitech controller to control that. It's the worst gaming controller ever made in the history of gaming.
But bro, all in all, though, that kind of stuff, man, when you're doing that crazy stuff, that's for military and high level scientists to be working on. That is not a damn cruise at Disneyland. That is crazy. They were making people.
I mean, what James Cameron did filming the Titanic and all, he had millions and millions of dollars.
And the highest level submarine military, expert badasses there were, man. I mean, it's terrible. That is a tragic thing that happened to those folks.
It is a tragedy.
And, we'll go ahead and we'll because unfortunately, bad things happen, and we might have to do that every show. We'll get a few of those out real quick if y'all want. That, along with, as a lot of people live where we live in the South, there's been a terrible streak of people drowning on the Gulf Coast over the past month or so.
Yeah, there have.
I know there's some stats from 10 people in 14 days from here to there and this and that. I know we had 3 or 4 one weekend just along the Alabama Gulf Coast a few weekends ago, and it's just absolutely terrible with the riptide and this stuff. And when one made me think of it, talking about Fayetteville, a friend and brother that we lost that I actually know passed because of the water down during that time. Ryan Mallett, who actually Justin was at his funeral Thursday in Fayetteville before we went north to North Dakota. But yeah, just terrible. 35 years old. I'm telling you, I saw Ryan 2 months ago at a benefit thing we did for tornado benefit in Little Rock. He showed up, supported, got up, called the hogs with all the guys. He's just he's coaching back home. He and Jay Wright actually both played in the league. They were both actually coaching at the same little 3A high school in Arkansas. And man, they had a great thing they were setting up to get rocking. Those kids, Ryan talked about those kids and coaching, man, he lit up. You could tell that was since his playing days were over, that was his calling and his family, man. It's just sad, but just everybody be careful out there.
He was one heck of a ball player, man. Yeah. And I know you can give advice living on the beach like you do. I'm familiar. I've lived on the beach too. Blasey lives on the beach as well. But what do you do if you find yourself in a riptide?
Well, I'm only heard hearsay, and I'm obviously no expert on it. Fortunately, I've never been in one that I know of. From anything when it involves water like that, the number one thing to do is not freak out. Panicking in the water will mess you up. I helped a guy that got turned over on his Sea-Doo 2 years ago, maybe. Me and Sharice riding through, and I saw a guy off his Sea-Doo, and I could tell he couldn't get back on, so we pulled over and checked on it. Yeah, he couldn't get back on his Sea-Doo. He had rented it, was out there for a while, and we were trying to get him on our boat, and he started panicking. I had to I said, buddy, I'm not going to let you drown. You got this. Just calm down. Because you're liable to suck in water. You're just going to exert more energy, Right. So I'd say number one is just don't freak out.
Which is hard to do, man.
And then you're supposed to kind of let it go, let it carry you.
They say
on
it's
out,
not going to carry you
right?
as far as you think it is. You're going to go just to X amount of feet or meters out, and then. So the best thing is just to try to not use energy and float and keep your breath, and
let it
I'll
take
say
you.
a lot of times too, and we're all guilty of it. You come to the beach, you want to drink and probably not drink enough water, and then you want to swim and play in the sun all day, and you kind of need to be acclimated for that a little bit, and just knowing if you go and the red flags are up or it's not a good day to be in the water, you just can't go in the water. And I know it might be your own.
Watch those
it might,
flags. They're
it might
there
be
for a
your only
reason.
trip to go that year, and it sucks to drive all the way down here not to get to go in the water, but it just have to, man. It just is what it is. Kind of like why when we stop concerts, people are mad because we evacuate, and they're like, it's not even storming here, but there's lightning within 8 miles. We have to stop and evacuate. You cannot.
It's not worth it. No.
It's not worth. One person gets hurt. It's not worth
man.
thousands of people having
at
fun.
all.
You just can't. So.
And on that beach thing,
Not at all. Those are tough calls that you have to make. You just got to make them. Though.
But those rip currents. I mean, those things are real. I've been involved in them. It's the same thing. And like you said, you have to relax. It's taking you. If you try to swim back in, that's not going to work. So you go left to right and go slowly and just start. And you're going to keep going out as you're going left and right. And some people start panicking then because it's like, I'm not out of it. And I'm like, no. They're only so wide, and they're only going to take you so far. So just chill, then you come back in.
Yeah.
But, man, first of all, there's zero reason to ever go past that first sandbar. Like, I know growing up as a kid, the thing was to go to the second sandbar, which was absolutely stupid. I have no idea why I used to think that was the coolest thing on earth, to go to the second sandbar.
Without a life jacket. Without
Yes,
a life jacket.
yes,
It's like
and if you
because
wanna
people
get
will
out
say,
there-
what about scuba diving? I'm like, well, you have a breathing apparatus and a life jacket on when you're in the Gulf.
Yes,
Yeah.
you don't get out there in that deep water, man, with no assistance.
With no life jacket? Are you kidding me?
It's stupid.
It's salt water. You breathe in that, you take a gulp of that salt water.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good
Anyway.
point, though. Yeah, second sandbar. Yeah, I don't understand. You see, because people see it on TV or they saw it on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
You
Let
know,
me
think-
swim
I
through that
think-
trough that I can't touch in.
Yeah, and that you're going to get. That's where all the fish are too. By the way, people. I don't. Just so you know, I've fished in those little valleys whenever I was in Destin, and we absolutely smoked them and caught sharks. So
That's where they hang out.
If it gets, I don't like to go out in that water beyond waist deep, and waist deep can still
Well,
mess you
Blasey-
up. You can still fall
Well,
down.
Blasey will tell you, Hal, any of our buddies that live, Grice, BJ, any of our buddies that live down here on the coast, we don't even go in the Gulf. We go in the bays or the old river or somewhere. We don't even ever go to. I go to the Gulf to
absolutely.
sit. We sit on the beach to watch the Blue Angels sometimes, or watch the sunset in the fall. But besides that, we go to the bay.
Right.
We don't even go to the Gulf. That's where the jellyfish and the
Absolutely.
sharks and the tourists and all that is. We go to the bay where it's safe. Fine, water's fine. Come on
That's
in,
what
baby.
we
The
did
water's
too whenever I
fine.
lived
So,
there.
but I know.
We could drive out on the beach at Grayton
it.
Beach, and we enjoyed that
Yes.
little cut that would that ran into the Gulf. That was the perfect place to set up whenever I lived there.
I was
We
there
had
on
little
Saturday.
ones. They could.
We hung out.
We were there
And
just
I got
about
out there
every
just enough
Saturday.
to,
Place.
when I needed to go take a leak, that's when I walked in there waist deep,
Yeah.
and then walked back out.
That's right.
Perfect. Perfect.
But,
Well, yeah. Well, that's. I know. Like I said, we got the PSA out of the way, and I wanted to send those RIPs out and say condolences to
Yeah,
all the
man.
families of anyone that lost someone during the 4th of July holidays and this summer season so far. For any reason, I know we're dealing with storms all over the country now, and droughts and wildfires and everything else. So everybody, be kind to your neighbors and help each other out if you can, and tell your friends if they're bored to listen to this podcast, and we'll give some. We'll try to give some
That's
healthy
right.
advice and stuff when we can. But yeah, it was a great time having DDP on. He said he would love to come back on anytime and talk about it. We're going to keep updated with the DDPY challenge that Tiggs has put on himself, and we're going to keep updates with that, and he check in on us periodically.
Still rolling strong,
Love it.
baby. Still rolling
Love it.
strong. Yeah, I absolutely love the program. I'm not going to lie, and my son is doing it with me, and I'm holding him accountable. He's holding me accountable. There's some days I'll go in there and be like, "Hey, man, we gotta do Fat Burner 2.0 today." And he's like, "Oh, like maybe we can do it in a little bit." I'm like, "No, man, we gotta do it. We're doing it now.
Yep.
We're gonna do it now. We're gonna feel better when we're done with it." And every single time we do, because just the way you stretch and
It's so good.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I'm doing it after we wrap up this. I'm doing one tonight.
So
you know,
and if you dig around on that,
I feel so
and
much
if you
better.
dig around on that app, there's so much other cool stuff too, between the meals and the videos,
there
and the
are.
testimonials. I mean, and it's just a lot of good content on there. So
Everything that you need to be successful, if you're whatever you're
Yeah, he
trying to
gives you
do, if you're wanting to lose
Yeah.
weight, and then you want to follow that meal plan, absolutely do that. If you're like me, I do want to lose weight, and I will eventually be following the meal plan, but right now I just want to get myself back in better shape, more flexible, stronger than I've been. And I can tell you, after, I guess I'm in week 4 or 5, I'm in week 5, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
My strength compared to, like, just getting up on, I mean, I'm 45 years old. Just going down to the floor and getting back up ain't like
Right.
it used to be.
Oh yeah.
But it is again after 4
Yep.
weeks.
Yep.
It is
It
again.
really-
I feel like I did when I was in my
Yeah,
early 30s.
it really works. Yep, it
Nope.
really works.
It absolutely
Yep.
does work.
So
It
we'll-
does work. So we'll hopefully that progress will continue.
We'll make sure to get you guys set up on the on his thing, so you got all the access to all the stuff and all that stuff, so we can
Yeah.
get some updates on that every week.
And we're going to go work out with him. I want to see, number one, I'm not ready to work out with him yet. Still, I can definitely
think
tell
he
you
has
that I am
far.
not prepared, but I will give it my best, and he would understand. But now I want to do that because I want to see what he will
He will
do to
kill him.
Lacey.
He'll destroy
Because
him.
I think he
He will.
can break
I-
Lacey.
Yeah, I mean,
think he can break
mentally, am I gonna
anybody.
say
But
yes, no,
you know,
I'm going to go. No, I'm going to give us all I got. But yeah, I mean, I know that dude's doing some crazy stuff just in description. You know, I mean, I believe it. You know,
oh yeah, I've glanced at some of the 5 Diamond videos. Just I'm like, I want to see what they're doing, and I'm like, whoo, no, I'm not
Dude,
ready
when-
for that. I am
He
not
would
ready
work
for
out.
that.
He would put us through a workout. We brought him on the road a few times. He'd put us me and the whole band and all of us through a workout in the morning, and then at the end he would say, and then if you really want to get, then one day you can do this, and he would start doing some shit, y'all, feats of strength type stuff with that stuff. Like, I mean, stuff you can't imagine, between flexibility and just strength and core strength and standing on your one hand and finger push-ups and just crazy stuff. And we're all like, and we're all over there dying from this hour workout he put us through. That's like a beginner level, basically. And now in retrospect,
Yeah.
he's over there like he ain't even getting loose yet, And
no,
it's-
that's like he just got out of
Yeah.
bed.
But he's a friend of the show, and he's got great advice. And going back to that, he has a motivational Monday video every Monday. You need a little extra kick in the butt. Watch that; it's always good. It's 2 or 3 minutes. It's great. But he's a friend of the show, and he'll be back, and we appreciate his time. And everybody go to ddpy.com. Check out Diamond Dallas Page and his world famous wrestling legend and health and wellness guru to this show. And if you love Shark Tank like I do, go back and watch the Shark Tank episode when he was on, and then see where they're at now. I always think that's fun.
yep, that's amazing.
It
But
is
since
funny.
then, we've had. It seems like since then, in the past, well, we talked to JD after that. We actually, and I've kept up with JD some on
Yep.
socials. He's been traveling some. I know they were. They've done a lot of traveling
Yeah,
lately.
they went to Europe.
And then back, and he's already doing some competition stuff somewhere or cooking somewhere. I saw he had some videos up.
Yep, doing something. I spoke with his wife today. She's going to be here in Baton Rouge, and was with the kids and all, and was telling her a couple of places that they can go. They are wide open 24/7. Both of them. They're together. They're separate, but they're both they're
Love
going. I mean, they're just go. It's unbelievable. You can't keep up with them.
Well, that episode was great. If anybody, that's some behind the scenes stuff on how the world of competition barbecue works that most people don't know. I didn't know, and I've been to those competitions, didn't know exactly how some of those particulars work. So I'm sure JD will come on again with us. Maybe we can get him on during something big, Memphis in May or something when they're doing something really cool. Maybe we can get him to come on.
Oh, we're going to have him on a lot more often because I believe that, number one, we need some of these recipes, and I think everybody out there listening to this would benefit. He's got them. Trust me, he has got them, and he has some. They have new products that are coming out, so I mean, check them out. And I know Blasey absolutely the Loco charcoal cooker. That video, I made a little short clip of that. That thing's been rocking and rolling out there on the socials, but I want that damn thing,
it's like
dude.
the dream
I have them all. Like, I don't need it, but I want it, you know?
Exactly.
Add it to the collection.
So freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
So what else has been going on with you, JR? I know that y'all are you're out touring. You're in the middle of the heat of the summer, and recently I saw a video of y'all playing an outdoor festival here in the last week or so somewhere, and I mean I can't keep up. Y'all are in different town every night, it looks like. So what's been going on?
We've been on
y'all?
the road, you know. I'm trying to think when we last recorded and when I last gave any updates. But the last few weeks, man, we had some good runs. We had a long week leading up to 4th of July. Usually we're off during this time, but we decided to work this year.
I think Fox and Friends is where we left off.
Okay, yeah, we went to New York and did Fox and Friends. That was a cool experience. Done that a few times over the years. Then went to Canada the next week. Played a festival up in Canada. That was fun. Got to meet Tim Hicks, who is a big artist in Canada that I've been a fan of for a while. I got one of his guitar picks there. But got to see him finally play. And Mackenzie Porter, and she was great. I think she's a Canadian artist as well, but she's on Nashville label now. But she was really good too. And then we did a few shows. Did a show on the 24th with the always entertaining Mr. Chris Jansen. Boy, he's a handful. Then we went to Dewey Beach, which we do a couple times a year. Went out there and played 2 shows. Dewey Beach is kind of like the Daytona of Delaware. It's where everybody from New York, New Jersey, D.C. area goes to the Delaware Shore, Rehoboth Beach, all these different beaches along there during the summertime. It's only open probably 4 or 5 months out of the year max, but it fills up. So we play a club there actually, which is it's one of the only, there in Billy Bob's are the only clubs we play every year. But it's a cool set. It's kind of like the Floribama. You know, it's cross street from the beach, got one big stage, you know, 1,200 people or whatever, and we do it 2 nights in a row. So we did that. Went to Foxwoods Casino in Mashantucket, Connecticut, which is beautiful. That's one time was the biggest casino in the world. Really cool spot. I think we played by ourselves there. Coreyville, PA, did a show with Granger Smith, who's on the last legs of his farewell tour. He's retiring from playing music. He's going into ministry work. Then I got home 4th of July afternoon, and then had to turn around 2 days later. Went to North Dakota, is where the videos you were talking about. Yeah, we got to do shows. The Bellamy Brothers kicked the show off, which was cool. Got to meet those guys. Got some guitar picks from the Bellamy Brothers.
Look at you, man, you just loaded up on this run, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah. Dave and Howard. They were awesome. And then a new guy, newer artist that's on his way up, Randall King from Amarillo, Texas. Huge fan of this guy. He's going to be really good if everything works out. He's got.
You turned. You told us that and told us we need to listen, and I have listened to a handful of songs and. Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it.
90s country.
He's the real deal.
Real deal. Got that good traditional sound, that Texas sound. So it was good. And then the direct support for us tonight was an outfit that goes by Roots and Boots, which is Sammy Kershaw, Aaron Tippin, and Colin Ray, and they do this combo package where all 3 of them do all their songs. They share a big band, and they play like a 2-hour show. So I mean, we were just eat up. Nice. So it was a long day of music. We didn't go on till like 11 o'clock that night. So then Justin played 2 hours or something. Damn. So it was. Wow. I was pretty drained when I flew home yesterday, I guess, and then or day before yesterday.
Wow.
But that was my trip. I will say I got a couple cool things while I was out. I got this cool hat. I've got a buddy, shout out, that's from New York. He brought me some swag. He's with the fire department there. He got me this cool challenge coin. We get these from time to time. Justin gets a bunch of them. I get some sometimes. But these cool challenge coins.
Okay, yeah. I see that. New York City Task Force.
Urban Search and Rescue Task Force, and then it's got the cool things.
Oh,
those things are cool.
Man,
and this one I thought was really cool, and I just realized what it was when we were getting ready to go on. It was the NY Fire and Rescue. But look how they did it. It's Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah, that's the Wu Tang,
How
baby.
cool is that?
Yeah, Wu
Isn't that random? Isn't
Tang.
that cool?
Oh man, that's freaking awesome.
It's got
That's great,
the
dude.
Statue
I
of
lo- I
Liberty.
love- I
It's got
love
the
Wu-Tang,
me
man.
too. It's got the Statue of Liberty, a ninja, Shaolin, New York. You know,
Oh hell
I love
yeah!
it.
You know what? I think that sets
a-
the tone for me for the rest
Yes,
of this
sir.
evening.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump into
There
some
you go.
Wu.
So
Oh
anyway.
yeah, give me some ODB tonight,
Yep.
baby.
So that's it. That's it. Traveling around with my buddy Justin, making country music, trying to get home in one piece. Same old, same old. And since I've been home, we got a text last night from our the most famous member of this panel, Mr. Blasey, that another viral moment. You were on another YouTube show last night as a would be short segment guest turned into an hour and a half full blown hell, I guess co-host for the show. It must have been.
That's so fun.
Yeah, pretty much he
That's so funny.
was.
So
Tell everybody, where were you on last night?
backing up a
Blasey?
minute. So Bubba the Love Sponge, listening to him, he recently is connected with this guy who's become this sensation, like on Blaze TV and over the internet. He's like a political comedian slash. He just makes fun of political correctness, and he's more conservative, right? So he's going after liberal. I mean, it's some crazy stuff that he does. Like he's the one with the Brittany Griner thing. His name's Alex Stein, and I don't know if you saw Brittany Griner.
Right. Okay, he's the one who
Yes,
was following
that's
her
him.
through
That's
the
Alex
airport.
Stein. That's
Oh my
doing that.
God!
Okay.
So I've been listening
Lord.
to him, and him and Bubba connected, and they've hung out a little bit, and he's just off the rails. He's really smart, but he does this crazy, whole skit. His show is
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Oh, he
wild.
knows
I can't
what he's
believe it.
doing. He knows what he's doing.
He knows exactly what he's
Oh,
doing.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
And well, anyway, so I've been listening to him. I'm laying down last night. I get on my phone and I get a notification saying Alex Stein's going live. And I'm like, let's watch this. And I click on it, and it was a weird link to something. It was like you something, and I was like, what is this? And I just click on that, and I was like, that's not it. Then I go back to the show, and I'm sitting there for like 30 seconds, and he goes, all right, we got people coming on now on the Zoom. Wait, we got Chad Blasey sitting in there. Chad Blasey sitting in there waiting on us, and I was like, what? I mean, I was like kind of panicking, and I'm like, well, I guess I got to go do this now. So I ran out here to the studio and had to log out and get back in on my computer, set up everything, and
Wow.
yeah, about an hour into it, he's going through calls, and man, we get on there and just get to talking. He had some insane people that were on there that were absolutely nuts. But,
Were there?
but it was funny, talked a little later, and I'm chiming in with him, and he left my mic hot the whole time for like an hour and a half.
No, but I mean, absolutely. Look, at one point, Blasey absolutely was co-hosting the thing because he liked the fact that, number one, he has a good setup,
Yep.
Thanks to the podcast. Number two, we have to agree with this. He has the best voice of the three of us. It ain't even close.
Facts.
And it's natural. Little insight whenever I do the backlog stuff, I do the editing and all the post-production work. I don't ever have to touch Blasey's audio. That you're hearing is untouched, natural, absolute audio. That's his voice. I don't have to do anything to it. It's wonderful. Yep. And Alex picked that up immediately, and then he ran with it. Yeah, he was just basically co-hosting.
Hey, and he started following me on Twitter today too, so that's kind of cool. He's got 600,000 followers almost. There, so that's a good little. Yeah. Connection, Chris. That's an interesting one for sure.
So stay tuned for that one, folks. Ain't no telling where the hell this thing will go from this point. Again, we don't want to be too political on this show, but hey, we're willing to play around, have a little fun with Alex Stein. I mean, shit, why not?
It's just this show's for entertainment and insight
on a blimp.
That's it.
And Southern culture.
Prime time 99, pimp on a blimp, baby.
anything goes on Tig's bits, no doubt. Well, man, that's killer. So, what? Right. You've got links to that on your Twitter as well, Blasey?
Yes, I do. Yep. So that's
all
on my Twitter on the @SRB Trojan. So you can go there and check it out. And I
Well,
don't.
And you can go to the Tigs Bits podcast. I've also retweeted the link to that show if you want to watch the whole 2 hours of a Zoom chaos meeting. It's the ultimate in a Zoom meeting with just pure chaos. But he's just a freaking good host, though. I mean, that was the first time that he's done that. Too, that kind of format.
Yes, it was. He'd never done that before. He decided to open it up a little bit to the community.
He showed what a pro he was.
We'll have to tell you, have to hit him up, get in his DMs, and let him know if he needs a co-host. Just give you a heads up, and you'll be ready.
Be ready to roll.
Well, he did ask him. He did. I believe that. We're going to have to hold on to Blasey as long as we freaking can, Handler, because he's moving. I think he may move past us at some point and just go on. And it's fine. I want to see you fly, baby. I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
but yeah, Alex wants him to start doing voiceover work. So God knows where this could go, and I hope it happens. He'd be smart to do it. And if he only knew half of the things that we've talked about off of the air, that would absolutely benefit him. I'm just saying it's there.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's going to keep happening, because I don't want to. We don't need to tease it too far. I know we've teased it a little bit, but I know Blasey's talked to a handful of people that are going to be great guests here on the podcast in the next couple of months. Yeah. Tiggs has got some great ideas on some angles we're going to use. I've got some tricks in my bag as always. So I say stay tuned to this. I say stay tuned to this podcast because we're going to have some great guests, some great conversations, some great recipes, some tips, some what we did wrong, what you might could steer away from, some things we've seen that working right. Maybe we all could lean into, some this and some that. So we appreciate everybody listening each and every week and downloading and clicking and liking and subscribing and rating and all that stuff, because those numbers and that kind of stuff is going to help drive the podcast to where we can get the help we need to expand and get it to where it's really what the dream Tiggs had when he started this thing. And it's all coming together now week by week. And it couldn't happen without the people who support the show. So appreciate y'all for that. And I'm excited because I know from internal talks before and after the show, I know some of the stuff we've got in the books, and it's gonna be great. Y'all are gonna want to subscribe and be ready when this stuff gets.
Oh, we're cooking, baby. We're cooking in Tigs Bits for sure.